Hi my dear friends, welcome or welcome back to my channel, Diana and the Book Hunt. Today I'm going to be doing a trope recommendation video that I'm doing thanks to one of my dear friends who is one of my biggest fans here on my channel. She's watching all of my videos and she commented below one of my videos that I posted lately that how come I haven't posted a second chance recommendation video yet since I love them so much. And that is indeed true because second chance romances really are one of my favorite types of books to read, so it's my favorite trope to read. And I was like, haven't I posted one yet? And I was looking through my videos and I noticed that indeed I haven't yet done a trope recommendation video that focuses on second chance, and that is just blasphemous. It's just ridiculous that I haven't done it yet. So here I am talking about some of my favorite books with this trope. And I really have to say that I really did my best to pick 10 books that really are different from each other, so that if you haven't read any of these books, you can check in which kind of mood you are so that you can pick up one of these books that will strike your fancy. And I really hope that you enjoy this video and that you're going to find a new favorite within this list. The first book I'm going to recommend is kind of not typical for me to recommend because I don't read very many historical romances, but this one I read at the start of this year and I really enjoyed it, and I think that it's exactly the type of read that anyone can pick up even if you don't enjoy historicals typically. I think this one has a very palatable writing style, so you can easily read it. Especially I picked up the audiobook for it and it was really good. The book is called Again the Magic by Lisa Kleypas, and the book is a second chance historical romance that has the class difference between the two characters. The heroine is of the upper class and the hero is kind of like the, I don't know what it's called, like a stable boy within the household. And when they're teenagers, they really fall for each other. They're soulmates. They really want to spend their life together, but obviously their situation wouldn't typically allow them to be together. So something happens that makes the heroine break their relationship off, but under false pretenses for him. So she doesn't tell him the real reason of why she is breaking the relationship off. And he is really jilted by the whole situation. He leaves their estate and he goes to America and he becomes a self-made man. He becomes really rich, and then a couple of years forward, he comes back and he kind of wants revenge on her because he feels like she kind of left him hanging. And she, the heroine, she has gone through a lot in the years of his absence, and she actually has a disability now, but she really wants to hide it from everyone, especially from him. And they have a bit of a soulmates to rivals or enemies to lovers situation, and it's so good. I definitely promise you that it's worthwhile. The next book I recommend is one of my all-time favorite books. It's 7 Days in June by Tia Williams. This book is very special. It involves two writers and it involves a situation of two people who met up as teenagers, and they had a very turbulent short period of time when they became very powerfully connected together. But obviously after that short period of time, something really tragic happened and they were split apart. And many years later, I think 15 or 16 years later, they meet up again because both of them are writers and both of them attend this book conference. And in the meantime, the heroine, she has become a mom to a teenager now, and he very much wants to win her trust back. He definitely wants to rekindle their relationship, and it's such a special read. I found that it was done so well, and I would definitely recommend it. A book that I would recommend that I read this year is Happy Place by Emily Henry. Obviously, Emily Henry is one of the most popular authors of this time, and I think that this is one of the books that probably will not be liked by everyone, but it definitely was a very special read for me. And if you enjoy the same type of books that I typically pick up, you might want to try this one. This one is very much a relationship between two people who used to be together but have broken up, and they got together because they have this same group of friends. And at the start of the book, we already find out that they've broken up, but they haven't told their friend group that they have broken up because they're really afraid that it will change the friendship dynamic between everyone if they find out that they have broken up. So this one is very much not only a romance, but very much a relationship type of book where you focus on the different types of relationships within this friend group. So I found that it was really special because oftentimes you'll have within romances some kind of a plot device that is used as a conflict, but this one really seemed kind of realistic to me, where people fall in love, you cannot help who you fall in love with. And if this happens within a very tight knit group where people really feel like family to each other and they get together, but at some point they break apart, what happens to the whole family dynamic? How does that influence everyone within the group, not only the couple who have split up? And in this situation, they get together to this place, their happy place, where they visit together as a friend group, and they have to pretend that they're still together for the sake of their friendship group. So it's kind of like a fake relationship, second chance romance situation, and I really enjoyed it. Next up is another one that I picked up this year that I really think is going to end up in my favorites of the year, which is Forget Me Not by Julie Soto. This book is an amazing book in my opinion because it does the past and present chapters so well. So we have the past of the couple, so the first chance within the second chance situation, explained through the perspective of the hero, and then the present situation as the heroine sees it, and we see how they fell in love in the first place. Eventually we found out what went wrong, why they split up, and then how they're coming together to work together on this wedding, because this is very much a wedding centered romance. The heroine is a wedding planner while the hero is working as a florist, and they need to work together on this very high profile wedding, and a lot of things happen that have them get together with a lot of forced proximity. So they need to work together, they need to figure out a way to have the grudge that they had for one another kind of move past that, and at the same time kind of work through their feelings so that they can move forward or potentially get back together. So I really enjoyed this one and I definitely recommend it. One of my all-time favorite authors is Joel E. Ann, and one of the books that I want to recommend is by this author. It's called For Lucy. This one is a very special read. It's a very heavy read, I do have to say. If you're triggered by death within a family, specifically death of a child, please bear in mind that this book definitely heavily deals with that. So check it out before you pick it up. The book centers on the hero and heroine who have this amazing meet cute. She's supposed to go on a blind date and he kind of steals her from this blind date because the guy whom she's supposed to meet is late. He hijacks the blind date essentially, and he makes her fall in love with him. So they get married, they have children, but something tragic happens that splits them apart, and the hero very much has sacrificed any type of happiness of his own so that he can support his ex-wife and his daughter. And it's a very tough read, but it's very much one that will bring you through the ringer and then make you feel all the amazing feels in the end. And I definitely would recommend this one as well. Another all-time favorite author of mine is Kennedy Ryan. There, I think, isn't a video where I talk about favorites that I don't mention a book by Kennedy Ryan. But this time I've decided to pick one that I don't talk about a lot on my channel. This one is Queen Move, and it's kind of like a companion novel to the Rebel King series, but you can definitely read it as a standalone, because I did read it as a standalone and I definitely enjoyed it still without knowing the background of the other two books. This book centers on a heroine who is a very strong, very independent heroine. These are the types of heroines that Kennedy Ryan writes, and she is so amazing at it. She has a very important job. She is kind of like a, I don't want to say lobbyist, but kind of like a lobbyist for politicians. So she helps them get elected, and she is very much sought after in her field. So she's very career oriented, but then she finds out that she has a health problem that may cause her to not be able to have children. So she really needs to focus on how she's going to tackle her health problems so that she doesn't lose out the chance to become a mother. At the same time, a person from her past, someone she used to be childhood friends with, comes back into her life. This is the hero within our scenario, and he is in a situation of his own. He has a child with a woman with whom he's still living, so he is in a committed relationship. So it's kind of difficult for them to get together, even though they do have unresolved feelings from their past. So it's a very, again, emotional, very kind of a heavy set it read, because there's many topics that are touched upon that can be triggering, so please look that up. But the book is just so beautifully written, as we're used to by Kennedy Ryan, and it's such a good read. It's such a good second chance romance. I definitely would recommend this one as well. A book that I really read a long time ago, but that I definitely wanted to include in this recommendation video, is Kaleidoscope Hearts by Claire Contreras. This book I included because I typically say on my channel that I really don't like the brother's best friend trope, but this is one of the books that is definitely an exception for me. I really enjoyed how the brother's best friend trope is dealt with in this situation, specifically because the second chance, I think, is the thing that really stuck with me. The situation is the hero and heroine, they grow up together, and he's obviously her brother's best friend. So they start off as friends, but when they grow up to be teenagers, they definitely catch feelings for one another and they start a relationship, but in secret. It's definitely forbidden because they don't want her brother to find out. And then at some point she's like, I can't deal with this. I really have such strong feelings for him, and she breaks it off and she moves away. When they reconnect in the future, when they're already adults, she is like, I really still have feelings for him. He still definitely has feelings for her, but she's so scared because of the magnitude of the feelings that she has for him, that she's going to get hurt again, that it really makes sense that she's reluctant in kind of giving in to him. But he is such an amazing hero that you kind of can't help but fall in love with him again. So it was such a special read, and I definitely recommend this one as well. Another second chance romance that I absolutely love is Roughest Draft. This is written by an author duo who is married, and the actual plot surrounds two people who are an author duo. They're not married, but they've written a couple of books that have become great hits within the book community. But they had a falling out, and they still need to write one more book for their contract to be completed. And they've been putting it off, but they're being kind of forced by their publishing company to come together and write that book. And they've always gone to this house, this retreat house, where they write together, and they have this forced proximity situation, and these very many unresolved feelings and conversations that they need to have. And it's a very interesting read. I don't think that everyone has received it as well as I think the authors would hope, but for me it was a very special read. I really like it when two people sit down and dissect what the situation is for them. And when there is a lot of unresolved feelings, I like it when there is this kind of angst and accumulation of a lot of pent up energy that eventually explodes. I really like that. So for me, it was a very good read, and I hope that if you pick it up that you'll enjoy it as well. A more recent read of mine that was a really special read because it's very different from the typical romances that are very much hyped at this moment is The Half of It by Juliette Fay. This book centers on two characters who in the present day are in their 50s, and they used to have a kind of a relationship when they were teenagers. So a lot of years have passed since they were in contact with each other, and they have this whole life that stands between their last kind of interaction and their current situation. Both of them have been married. Both of them are in situations where one of them has become a widower. The other one is in a relationship that is kind of falling apart. So it's a very interesting read because we don't read a lot of romances that center on the demographic of people who are in their 40s, 50s, or 60s. So I really enjoyed this read, and it's a very special one. The last book I'm going to recommend is by Ashley Poston. The book is called The 7-Year Slip, and it's going to end up in my favorite reads of this year. It's got a touch of magical realism to it because the heroine lives in this apartment that can transport her back into the past, 7 years into the past. And in that parallel timeline, she finds the hero. She meets the hero, who is an aspiring chef. They meet. They hit it off, they have feelings for each other very quickly, but then the apartment brings her back to the present where he is no longer there. So at some point within the present timeline, she meets him again, so that's why it's a second chance romance. So it's a bit of an untypical type of second chance romance, but it's definitely worth it. Thank you for sticking around if you've made it this far. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope that you found any book that you can pick up in the future. Let me know if you do, and let me know if you've read any of the books that I mentioned in this video as well and what you thought of them. Also, please recommend me other second chance romances that I can pick up of my own, and I hope to see you very soon in the next one. Have a wonderful, marvelous day. Happy reading. Take care, and